Do you have money issues, especially issues around how much you charge for what you do? If you do, I'd like to talk to you today. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to focus on the literal cost of your money issues, your low self-esteem, your low self-image, whatever those are. So I'd like to tell you a story. The other day, I was told a story about a woman who people were asking her to do a certain service. And she said, I'm going to charge $100 to do this service. And everybody who was in the room heard it and were just shocked because they know that the average person that they would get that service from would charge them $500 for it. And so she was charging $100 because she had money issues. She was unwilling to admit that she was worth a certain amount, where everyone else to do the same kind of service would have charged $500. And so the cost to her, the literal cost to her, was $400 for every job that she accepted, because she's accepting it for $400 less than what the rest of the market will charge. Now, she might get a lot more business, but every time she gets that business, she is leaving money on the table. And the key is this: that $400 is a one-time cost. If you think about it this way, let's just imagine that she could have gotten that job 3 times a week. And she's going to get charged, and she's going to charge that $400 less. So let's look at what the cost to her is of having these issues. So it's $400 times 3 times a week times 52. So that means that every year, if that's all she did, and I realize this is sort of a made up conversation, but just stick with me for a moment. That $400 times 3 times a week times 52 weeks during the year means that her money issues are costing her $62,400 a year. That's how much more money she could make if she would be willing to just charge what the rest of the market expects to pay, $500 for that particular job. Now let's take that $62,400 and just consider that the average person spends about 40 years of their life working. And so that $62,400 a year totals $2.5 million across her life that she could have earned if she would have just asked for what the market was willing to pay, much less getting to be the best in the marketplace and charging a premium price to do that. And that decision doesn't include things like inflation, because over time that $500 is going to be worth more. And the thing it really doesn't include is it doesn't include all the other costs of not having that money will create. So the challenge of money is that if you don't have it, there are real costs associated with not having money. So if you have to drive a car that breaks down 4 times a year and each time costs you $1,000 to repair, that's $4,000 a year that you're having to pay because you didn't have money to buy a car that wouldn't break down. And trust me, I've been there and I totally understand this. This is why it's so important to me for me to have this conversation with you, is that I understand the cost of not having money. And so what I'd like to do is to invite you to think about this for just a moment. This case of this woman, she's missing out on $2.5 million across her lifetime because of her money issues. What is your lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth? What are your money issues costing you? Because when you think about it that way, just run those numbers like I just did, you can actually put together a pretty big number across your lifetime. And it may help you realize that, hey, this internal mindset thing that I've got going around money is literally costing me thousands of dollars a year and millions of dollars across my lifetime. So then once you think that, what is it costing you? What would it cost to fix it? Could you pay less than $2.5 million to a really good therapist and solve that problem? Yeah. Could you even skip the therapist altogether and just ask more money? So the real question is this: what could you do to fix your money issues so you can start earning what you're worth? Actually, let's step back from that concept. Let's not think about what you're worth, because what you're worth is the core of your money issues, probably. Let's just look at it in terms of what the job's worth. Doesn't matter if you're doing it or Bob or Jane are doing it. The key question is, how much is that job worth? How much is that course worth? How much is that transformation you're creating in people's lives worth? How much is that coaching worth? How much is that consulting worth? Those things that you're doing, how much would people in the marketplace be willing to pay for that? And then how about if you just charge that much? Or maybe even really gut it up and charge a premium for it and create a product that's worth a premium to be charged. Interesting. So take you out of it. So it's no longer your self-esteem. It's just, this job is worth X. So I'm going to charge X. No matter how I feel about myself, I'm going to charge X. And realize that as you do that, anytime you do something that discounts it. So for example, I could sell somebody this course that I'm going to charge them $2,000, but I have money issues, so I'm going to write a book instead, which is going to sell for $20. Wow, you could charge them $2,000, but now you're going to charge them $20? Think about that for a moment. What is the real cost to you of your money issues? And is there a way you could get those solved? And the easy solution might be to just ask what the job is worth. What's your thoughts on this? What's your experience on this? Do you struggle with these? Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.